Hey everyone, here is your last video for February break, lesson 3. This is on the discriminant. That's your title. For your opener today, what we are going to do is find the y-intercept, vertex, and zeros of the equation. And to find the zeros, we're going to use the quadratic formula, the method we learned yesterday. So take a minute, pause the video, and see if you can find those 3 items. If you can't, then watch the video all the way through, but try it on your own first, see what you can figure out, and then unpause the video and see if you've done the question right. So y-intercept is very easy to find. That's just our c value in standard form. So we know our y-intercept is 0, negative 14. Perfect. The vertex, that is that formula, the negative b over 2a and a function of negative b over 2a. So let's figure that out, because when we find our a, b, and c value, that'll help us for our quadratic formula. So for the vertex, again, we're finding vertex, which is negative b over 2a and a function of negative b over 2a. Our a value is a 1. Our b value is a negative 5. So to find our x-coordinate, we have negative 5, and that is let me erase that really quick. We'll retry that. Our x value is a negative 5, a negative b value, over 2 times our a value, which is 1. A negative 5 makes a positive 5, 2 times 1 over 2, and 5 divided by 2 is 2.5. Great. So for our vertex, we already have our x-coordinate. Our y-coordinate is plugging that into our function. So here we have 2.5 squared minus 5 times 2.5 minus 14. So our calculator will come in handy here. We have to do 2.5 squared, and 2.5 squared is not 5. A lot of people think it's 5. That'd be 2.5 plus 2.5. So 2.5 squared is 6.25 minus 5 times 2.5, which is 12.5. Minus 14. So we're doing 6.25 minus the 12.5 minus 14. And when you do that, you'll get negative 20.25. So we found our vertex, filling in our y-coordinate there. And our zeros, I'll do the zeros in blue, so we'll separate that there. We're going to use the quadratic formula, and y'all know to use that. We need our a, b, and c value. So our a value is 1, b value is negative 5, and c value is negative 14. So let's plug it into our formula. Do you remember what it is? Are you singing the song? Who knows? Maybe you've made up your own song by now, which would be super awesome. But let's write it down. So we've got x is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Plugging in our numbers, we have a negative b. Remember, our b is already negative, so that doesn't make a difference with anything. Just remembering that if it's a negative b, then we need to know that's going to be positive in the end. So let's rewrite that. X is equal to negative, and our b value is negative 5, plus or minus the square root of negative 5 squared minus 4 times 1 times negative 14 all over 2 times 1. Let's do some simplification here. So negative 5 is positive 5, plus or minus the square root of 25 minus that quantity 4 times negative 14 times 1, which is negative 56. But since we're already subtracting, we can just change that to positive 56 over 2. Simplifying our square root just a little more, we've got 5 plus or minus the square root of 25 plus 56, which is 81 over 2. We know we can have a positive square root and a negative square root, so let's go ahead and write our 2. If I can extend the page, maybe there, too far. We can rewrite this as 5 plus the square root of 81 over 2, or x is equal to 5 minus the square root of 81 over 2. Over here we have x is equal to 5 plus 9 over 2. 9 plus 5 is 14 14 divided by 2 is 7. So we know that one of our x-intercepts, or one of our zeros, is 7, comma, 0. And our other side, our negative root, we'll have x is equal to 5 minus 9 over 2. X is equal to negative 4 over 2, and x is equal to negative 2. Perfect. So that's our other x-intercept is negative 2, comma, 0. So in Go on Desmos, check it out. Take our formula right here and plug it into Desmos. See if you get the same numbers for the vertex, the y-intercept, and the zeros. All right. Today, we just found key features of a quadratic equation. Our mini lesson is over the discriminant, and remember your work session for this will be in class on Friday. The goal today is we can actually predict the number of x-intercepts a quadratic has through the discriminant, so it's really convenient. What is the discriminant? The discriminant is a method of determining how many zeros, all right, so think about that for a second, how many zeros a quadratic equation has prior to solving for the zeros. So we can actually figure out how many x-intercepts this equation is going to have prior to even doing any work, which can be convenient in some cases. So the discriminant, if we look at our quadratic formula here, the discriminant is this piece of it, is the part underneath the square root. That represents the discriminant of the problem. And again, we can use that to help figure out how many zeros the quadratic equation has before we actually solve it. So there's 3 different possible outcomes of a discriminant. One, when you plug in the values for B, C, and A, you find out that your discriminant is positive. And when your discriminant is positive, that means the equation has 2 x-intercepts, 2 of them, 2 x-intercepts. So we'll write that, and then I'm just going to sketch a little picture of what that would look like. So if we had our coordinate plane, that would be a graph that intersects the x-axis twice. So something that looks like this. Or if you want to think about a negative example, something that looks like this. Again, intersecting the x-axis twice. The possible outcome is when the discriminant is negative. And when that happens, when you plug in your B, A, and C value and the discriminant is negative, that means the equation has no x-intercepts. No x-intercepts. And let's sketch a picture of what that would look like. If we draw our coordinate plane, that would mean it doesn't cross the x-axis at all. And you might be thinking to yourself, well, wait a minute, how does that work? That just means the parabola is either opening up and above the x-axis, or it's opening down and it's below the x-axis. It does not have any zeros, doesn't cross the x-axis at all. So that could look like any variety of those. No x-intercepts. The last thing that can happen with the discriminant, we plug in our B, A, and C value, and we notice that the discriminant is 0. So when that happens, that means the equation has 1 x-intercept. Which has 1 x-intercept. X-intercept. And what that means would be something that looks like this. And I want you to notice something about both of the parabolas that I'm about to draw. 1 x-intercept. This one also has 1 x-intercept. You'll notice that when this happens, that 1 x-intercept is also the vertex. That's the only way this can happen, is when we have a value that is right on the x-axis. And if there's only 1 right on the x-axis, 1 point, on the x-axis, that would mean it also has to be our vertex. Try and draw it, otherwise you won't be able to. So when you have 1 x-intercept, you also know that it's the vertex of the graph as well. Good, so let's just do a couple practice questions and we'll be done. Finding the discriminant. So we're going to make a prediction of how many zeros each one of these equations has without actually finding the zeros, just by using the discriminant. So a calculator might come in handy for you right now, just to do some quick calculations with some of these larger coefficients that we see. So let's look at the first one. To do the discriminant, let's identify our A, B, and C values. In this first one, our A value is 9, our B value is 6, and our C value is 1. So let's plug it into our equation, b squared minus 4ac. Our b value is 6, so we have 6 squared minus 4 times our a value of 9 and our c value of 1. So we now have 6 squared, which is 36, minus 4 times 9 times 1. So we know 9 times 4 is 36. 36 times 1 is 36. So we have 36 minus 36. Our discriminant is a 0. So if we go back and look what that means, if our discriminant is 0, it means the equation has one x-intercept. So we'll just put that one x-intercept. We also know that that one x-intercept is also going to be our vertex. Let's try the second one. Let's make a prediction. A, B, C. We can predict the number of x-intercepts prior to even solving the question. So our A value, we've got a 2, B value 5, C value negative 4. Again, let's plug this in. I'll draw equal signs so it doesn't look like I'm writing negatives. B squared minus 4AC is our discriminant. Our B value is 5, so we have 5 squared minus 4 times our A value of 2, our C value of negative 4. So right now you might be able to make a prediction on how many they have just because you see that negative and negative. 5 squared is 25 minus 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times negative 4 is negative 32, but we're subtracting. We're basically subtracting a negative 32, so we would rewrite that as 25 plus 32, and 25 plus 32 is 57. So let's look back. We have a positive discriminant, so that means our equation is going to have 2 x-intercepts. X-intercepts. Good. Let's look at our last one. So our A value is negative 2, our B value is negative 1, and our C value is also negative 1. Now, you can probably predict that we're going to have 0 x-intercepts here, and that's nice, but I don't want you to think, oh, just because my A, B, and C value are negative, it means I have a negative discriminant. That is not true. That is not always the case. So don't get that stuck in your mind. We'll just figure this out like this is the first one we've ever done. Here, our B value is negative 1, so we have negative 1 squared minus 4 times negative 2 times negative 1. We know negative 1 squared is equal to 1, so we have 1 minus 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. Negative 8 times negative 1 is positive 8. So we basically have 1 minus 8, which makes negative 7. And if we look back at our examples, we know that negative 7, if our discriminant is negative, we have no x-intercepts. So for this one, we have no x-intercepts. Very good. Again, making predictions like this will help us figure out a picture of what the graph is supposed to look like. It's a great way to check. If you know the discriminant is positive, for instance, and you graph your equation and you don't have 2 x-intercepts, you know something has gone wrong. So a lot of the methods we use here help us check to make sure our work is correct. I'll see you on Friday during your work session after this lesson. Good job today, and keep enjoying your February break.